Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Pursuant to MGL 7C30A, Section 20F, after notifying the chair of a public body, any person may make a recording of an open session. Well, let's just see what's going on here.
The video was.
Yeah, it was on. Okay.
Go ahead. Yep.
Of a meeting of a public body or may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any such recordings. This meeting is being recorded by the town of Great Barrington, CTSB, Berkshire Eagle, Berkshire Edge. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listing of agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed and may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. Thank you, Chris. So we are going to start with the executive session motions. You want to?
Yeah.
Let me start with, we'll start with 2A, to executive session under MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, for the following purpose: to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body.
I move the board meet in executive session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3 for the following purpose: to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, Housatonic Waterworks Company rate increase petition to the Department of Public Utilities, DPU number 23-65 in the town's appeal to the Supreme Judicial Court, Town of Great Barrington versus Department of Public Utilities case number SJ-2024-0312.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ben.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And aye. It's unanimous. Next one, executive session under MGL Chapter 38, Section 21A6 for the following purpose: to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate regarding Housatonic Waterworks if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. The chair does declare that. Motion, please.
Move that the board meet in executive session. MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A6 for the following purpose: to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate regarding Housatonic Waterworks, because an open discussion may have detrimental effects on negotiating position of the board and the town.
Do I have a second? All in favor, roll call. Ben.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous. C, executive session under MGL Chapter 30A, Section 2A7 for the following purpose: to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law for federal grant and aid requirements. Motion, please.
Move that the board meet in executive session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A7 to approve executive session minutes from previous meetings on April 29th, 2024, January 13th, 2025, January 27th, 2025, February 10th, 2025, and March 24th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ben.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous. Executive session under MGL Chapter 38, Section 21A3 for the following purpose: to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, which I do declare. Motion, please.
Move that the board meet in executive session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3 for the following purpose: to discuss strategy with respect to litigation against the town concerning host community agreements for marijuana establishments, Theory Wellness, Community Growth Partners, High Minded LLC, Middlesex Superior Court, Civil Action Number 2481, CV 00693, and D2N2 LLC, doing business as Calyx, Berkshire Dispensary, Berkshire Superior Court Civil Action Number 2476 CV00041. Because an open discussion may be detrimental effect on litigation position of the board and the town.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Could you just add that the board will reconvene in open session?
And the board will reconvene in open session.
Thank you. Roll call, Ben.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous. Okay, that is all of our. Okay, the board is reconvened in the open session, beginning of executive session. Let's start with select board announcements and statements. Then,
Yeah, just kind of want to reiterate what I said at our meeting last week, to say thank you to everyone who showed up for the special town meeting 17th. I said that night that I didn't want to see a no vote, as well as I didn't want to see a yes vote as well, but I knew that a no vote coming out of that meeting, the headlines were gonna say that the town of Great Barrington had voted against acquiring Housatonic Waterworks. So I just want to take a second to say that I don't believe that that is what happened. I've had conversations with a lot of my neighbors in Housatonic about, well, the way they voted that night. Many of them who want to see the town acquire Housatonic Waterworks voted no, because they agree with the idea, but they didn't agree with the plan as it was presented that night. And that there is an understanding that we are doing the work, that this board is doing the work. We were just in executive session with the attorney that we have hired to help with the negotiation and the acquisition of the waterworks. So I just want to use this time to again say that we are on the path and we are doing everything we can to get this done. Thank you.
Not so much other than I think there was kind of maybe a little bit of a vote of confidence in us when that got voted down, that they know we were doing the work, and I appreciate citizens of Great Barrington recognizing that we really are doing our due diligence and want to get this thing solved as quickly as possible.
thanks, guys.
Yeah, so, just want to, since my fellow select board members have already reached on the special town meeting. I just want to talk about, we had a nice event in Housatonic for Earth Day and Earth Day cleanup, and the reports back in this year, there's still plenty of nips to be picked up on the side of the road. But there's, I want to mostly concentrate on the good turnout we had and just the community building we had around it. And we had a nice little gathering at the Housatonic Park after with all sorts of town people. Some people even came in from Great Barrington and grabbed some bags and did it. And just driving around after, which just showed that there was so many bags all over town, which is sad in one sense, but it was nice to see that much community out there helping clean up, even though it's just one weekend a year, but it's still nice. So just wanted to comment that and thank everybody for coming out for it as spring starts, and hopefully we can keep the sides of our roads cleaner and people stay more conscious. And then, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Next is the approval of minutes. March 24th, 2025, March 25th, 2025, March 31st, 2025, April 8th, 2025.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Town managers report?
Sure, just briefly, nothing to report on the Housatonic Waterworks, except as Ben said, the board continues to meet in executive sessions and discuss the issue with our attorney. The second item there is to announce that the town will launch its new improved website later in May. So after town meeting and after election, we'll get through that, so people don't get confused in advance of that. It'll launch on May 27th. At some point that afternoon. There will be a new website address. It will be townofgbna.gov. We're moving to the .gov address. It's more secure for a variety of reasons. Our emails will also change. So you see Rimbold at townofgbna.gov. So if you go to the old website, it'll point you to the new one. No worries about that. You send an email to our old email address, it'll still go to the new address. But you'll start seeing emails come to you from the new address. But no worries, the old one will stay active in the background and we'll still get all of your emails.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you very much. Public hearings. Application for a change of stock to the all alcoholic beverages on premise license at Butternut, 380 State Road, Great Barrington. Someone here from Butternut? You're online, just raise your hand. Here's. See you. State your name.
Good evening, Jesse Cook Dubin of Cohen Kinney Valicenti and Cook for the applicant.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I make a motion to open the public hearing for change of stock for all alcohol beverages on premises at Butternut, 380 State Road, Great Barrington.
Second.
Roll call. Dan.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And I. I realize there's two that look identical, but they're not identical, so. One's 380 State Road, one's 388, so let's start with the 380 State Road. You want to just give us an explanation of the application?
Sure, thank you. The stock in this corporation was owned by Jane Murdoch. As many of you probably know, Ski Butternut was founded by Channing and Jane Murdoch. This is for the food and beverage operation, is run by IE Inc. She passed away in 2023. And so it's being transferred half to her husband Channing and half to her son Jeff, who is the owner of Ski Butternut.
Thank you. Any public comments, questions, or anyone to speak in favor or opposition? Seeing no one, any questions from the select board? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call then.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And I. Select board discussion, I assume we have none since there were no questions. Any questions or? No.
Seems pretty straightforward to me.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the change of stock of all alcohol beverages on premises license at Butternut 380 State Road.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call then.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous. Next is the application for a change of stock to the all alcoholic beverage on premise license at Butternut 388 State Road. And, attorney, I won't make you go through that again. So do I have a motion to open for public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call then.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And I. Any public comments or questions to speak in favor or opposition? Seeing none, any questions from the select board?
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote then.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And I. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept the change of stock of all alcohol beverages on premise at Butternut at 380A State Road, Great Barrington, Mass. 01230.
Second.
Do I have any discussion? Roll call then.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And I. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Next is an application by Blunt Entertainment Group LLC for the transfer of license and change of manager for all alcoholic beverages on premises license at 426 Stockbridge Road, Great Barrington. Do you have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
The second with a question. I don't know what is at 426 after. I don't know the bid.
This was the site of,
Chrissy
what was
Farms.
known as Chrissy Farms, they're behind the brewery, that
Okay.
extra building there. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call. Ben.
Aye.
Charlie.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
And it's unanimous. Is someone here for an explanation of the application? Yeah, come right up. Say your name and address and give us an explanation.
My name is Daniel Latzman. I'm the 45 Blunt Road, Egremont. Daniel Baker, 49 Blunt Road in Egremont. Daniel and I intend to basically continue traditions of what Chrissy Farm has established over the past decade. We've worked very closely with Andrew, who's here, as well as Gary have, to assure safe transition of the property for all items on the site. And it's our plan for the imminent future to just carry on what they've done over the last decade.
Thank you. Public comments, questions, speak in favor or opposition?
Seeing I'm here.
You might as well.
Yeah.
Hi, Andrew.
Andrew Mankin, owner of Chrissy Farm, Barrington Brewery. So we've been, Gary and myself have been working with Daniel, quite a bit for a smooth transition, because they'll be taking over events that we've already booked. So we've been impressed by their business-like manner, and also they are very interested in keeping up the idea of being a community-minded business the way Gary and I have. So we're very pleased that these two gentlemen are going to be taking over the business.
Thank you, Andrew. Anyone else? Saying no one. Any questions from the select board?
So plan is to basically honor all the bookings, business as usual. Any plans for expansion or kind of ways to kind of do something new with the business, or is that? plans?
For sure,
Yeah.
we want to expand on what they've already done, essentially. And that means more access for the community. And whether that be through private events or events such as more corporate style events that may want to introduce public visitors on site. We want to be a site for Great Barrington and Southern Berkshire County to rely on, not only for personal reasons, but whatever reasons that may come up in the community, whether it's town related or personal.
Anyone else? Motion to close the public hearing,
So move.
Okay.
roll call.
Aye.
Perfect.
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
and I, unanimous. Any other select board discussion?
No, I guess I'd just like to say, Chrissy Farms has always been a good asset, and that the town needs a place to congregate there as far as for weddings and items such as that, because before that, there wasn't very many. Remember going to some weddings at one time at Egremont Country Club, and that has since gone, and so, it's a good thing, and I'm glad to hear that you're keeping it in line with that sort of stuff, and obviously some growth is always nice as well, so appreciate it.
I have one little question, and I'm not fully aware of what transpires or not, but has there been or is there a place back there that has religious services, or is that Chrissy Farm yet? Hold that, or am I completely mistaken?
There's a church that's a condo within the same condo unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could talk about that.
There's two different things. You may be thinking of the old St. James Church congregation.
No.
So at one point, when the St. James Church was falling down, we had let them use the space on Sunday mornings to have church services. And they stayed there for quite a while. They have since moved on and found their own place. There is a church that is on the property, which is in the back, the Living God Fellowship. And so the pastor, he's on the board of the condominium directors, which I am also on. And so he's fully aware of this change and in support of it.
Anyone else?
Just wanted to echo what Eric said, that this is, I think, a real important community asset to have a place for the community to come together for different sorts of events, both public and private. I know. Been to weddings and wakes and also dental play has gone over the years. So I really do think it is important. And I'm glad that you're keeping your community minded, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
You have a motion.
I make a motion to accept the Blunt Entertainment's transfer license and change of management permit for all alcohol beverages on premises at 426 Stockbridge Road, Great Barrington, Mass.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, Ben?
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Aaron.
Aye.
And I. Good luck too. Thank you.
Good luck.
Everyone. License and permits. Application for one-day liquor license, Library Board of Trustees Poetry Series at Mason Library, 231 Main Street, Great Barrington, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the following Saturdays in the summer and fall, 2025, July 26th, August 16th, September 27th, October 25th, fee waived. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All set, Karen. Application for a one-day entertainment license, WB Du Bois Sculpture Project, unveiling ceremony at Mason Library, 231 Main Street, Great Barrington, July 19th, 2025, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Is there someone here who's representing? There we go, Julie. Julie, you want to give a little synopsis of what's going on that day?
Yes, that day we were going to have, I think initially we had talked about having the unveiling at noon. We had a discussion, Bobby went in and talked to everybody at town hall, and then the guys talked to your police chief. And the decision was made that we should do it from 2 to 3, because then the farmer's market will have cleared out and it will be a little quieter in the town. And so we decided we do it from 2 to 3 because that was the recommendation. And we are, Bobby said everybody's been very helpful, and they're talking about parking spaces, and Joe Aberdale was going to help them locate parking spaces. We talked to them about a dumpster and about lemonade and about how big the crowd size was going to be. We think it's going to be about 500 people. It may be more. And we agreed to come back closer to the time to sort of round out those numbers. There's going to be a lot of publicity about this. You could get a lot of people, or you could get not so many people. It does coincide happily with the Du Bois Forum that is being held for its 4th year at Jacob's Pillow. That is a collection of about 80 to 100, mostly Black intellectuals and scholars from all over the country. They will certainly all be attending because their event is on Friday evening, and their goal is to come and attend the unveiling on that Saturday. So that's terrific. We've asked Deval Patrick to speak. I think he's going to be here, and if he is, he will. Lonnie Bunch, who is the head of the Smithsonian and who started the African American Museum, is going to be here at the Du Bois Forum. I just wrote to him and asked him if he could speak. And David Levering Lewis, who won a Pulitzer Prize for his biography of Du Bois, is speaking. There's also a 103-year-old man who helped purchase the Du Bois property. What is it, 1968? He's 103, he's coming. He's so excited about this sculpture. So, and the community is coming. We've asked some performance group from Pittsfield to come. We haven't heard from them, but they're step dancers. Our goal is to have a 1-hour happy ceremony and then serve everybody ice cream cups from SoCo. And so it's a little bit of an ice cream social, and then everybody should leave and let the traffic continue. We don't want it to be long, but we want it to be joyful. And that's our goal. And Bobby is working. Bobby would have been here tonight, but he has a headache. He's working very closely with the town representatives to get everything going. I've talked to Joe Aberdale. The bench is on its way. It should be landing in New York City sometime this week. They'll be moving it into place first or second week of May when Joe is ready for it. He's putting in the steps now. You've seen that work has been progressing. We're very, 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 very happy. We also have something scheduled with Chesterwood for the night before and the night after. There's a celebration. And our sculptor is going to be talking about how he, the technique of making a bronze sculpture. It's going to be very interesting. Chesterwood is very keen. The idea of celebrating the seated Du Bois at the home of the seated Lincoln is very exciting to us. So I only have good news. I'm hoping, oh, here's the bad news. The sculpture, no, the marble bench is coming from Italy. Okay, it's Vermont marble. They sent it to Italy to be carved. I now find out that the Italian quarry owns the quarry in Vermont, and we may have to pay tariff on this. Not an expense we have anticipated, but it's now at 10%. It was at 32%. So who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. But I'm feeling very good. Everything seems to be moving into place. The sculpture is in the foundry right now. And we're happy, happy, happy. And I hope it doesn't rain.
Thank you, Julie. Do I have a motion?
I move the board approve this application subject to staff conditions.
So a second with, question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that this hour is gonna be enough time for you when you had it already scheduled for 2? You're gonna cut it back to an hour? I guess
I
kind of
think
funny feeling that.
You know
Not
what?
gonna
I think you're right to point that out. It would be nice to have the license for 2 hours. Nothing goes according to plan. And
Right.
what we're trying to do is get out quickly have short talk, because it's in the middle of town. If there are 1,000 people there, that's a difficulty for the community. We have to have an ambulance. We have to have a dumpster. We have, it's a big deal. I never even thought about this. Now, of course, I was getting the sculpture and now I'm getting a dumpster. But our goal is not to spend too much time there out of respect for the town, because we don't want, traffic jams and people complaining. But it's going to be a great celebration. We're going to have music. Wanda Houston will sing. It's going to be joyful, and this is very exciting for us.
I'd like to see if you could maybe move that again back to 2 hours. I think this is a joyful, important event for this town. And just to think you can cram everything, I understand your considerations, but this is a one-time event in this town, and it's a big deal. It's a real big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, we can change.
We'll change the motion to 2 to 4 p.m. That's fine. I don't think there's any objection. Any
Good.
other questions?
No, just that we are gonna change it, because the application still says 12.
Yeah, and the
So 12
application says 12 to 2, so.
Right, you're
I
gonna have to,
motion-
that was based on an early proposal. After Bobby talked to all these people and Ari talked to all, we wanna, and 2 o'clock might be better, I don't know,
So,
I'll make a
withdraw the
motion to.
motion, withdraw your motion, you'll withdraw the second, make a new motion.
I move that the board approve the application for 2 to 4. Subject to staff conditions.
A second.
Any other
I
discussion?
mean, subject to staff conditions.
That you will be talking to Joe Aberdale, Chief Doherty, and other staff to.
Yes.
And you'll have to, and I'm sure you'll do this anyways, but we always put that on for big events, so that you'll be in touch with them to make sure everything goes smoothly.
Yes, we already have been and we will continue to be, because it's evolving even as we speak. The governor may come. Chief was saying if the governor comes, then we have to make room for her detail, et cetera, et cetera. She's certainly been invited. They don't make these decisions right away, so I don't know.
That's fine, that's fine. All in favor?
I,
It's unanimous. Julie, good luck to you.
Okay, and I hope you'll all come. All right? Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
your work. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Next is application for a one-day entertainment license and one-day liquor license for Haley Performing Arts Center Gala, 52 Castle Street, July 13th from 4 PM to 11 PM. Janice, do you want to just give a little discussion on what you're offering that day?
Thank you. And I'm actually going to turn it over to my colleague who's in the room. Diane Wardis is our Director of Advancement.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. Diane Wardis, representing the Haley Performing Arts Center. We have Andrew Reynolds coming as our performer. He will be performing on the stage of the Mahawi at 8 PM, but earlier under a tent, as we did last year, we'll have about 350 people at a tent supplied by Mahawi Tent. We've got Oscar Howard from Only in My Dreams online, so he'll be our event planner. The reception will be from 5 to 6, dinner catered by Old Inn on the Green from 6 to 7:30. There'll be a paddle race, there'll be some remarks, we'll get everybody to the theater for the 8 PM show. It'll be a good time.
Any questions? A motion.
I move the board approve this application, subject to staff conditions.
second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, next. Someone here from Berkshire Cider Factory. Great. So. This is to an application for a farm winery farmers market license, Berkshire Cider Project. For sale and sampling at the Great Barrington Farmers Market, Church Street, each Saturday from May 10th. Through November 15th, 2025, from 9 AM to 1 PM. Kat, can I assume this is similar to what you've done in the past? Do you want to speak a little bit? Just unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yeah,
Okay,
we
great.
got it
Sorry
now.
about that.
No
Yeah,
problem.
so this will be our third year at the market. No changes. We'll be primarily selling bottles for people to take home with them, but in the service of that, offering small samples just so people can know what they're buying. So no change from the past 2 years.
Any questions from the board? Motion?
I make a motion to approve the application for farm winery market license, Berkshire Cider Project for sale and sampling at the Great Barrington Farmers Market on Church Street. Each Saturday from May 10th, 2025 through November 15th of 2025 from 9 AM to 1 PM.
There a second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
We'll just wait for Garfield to come back for the next one. Next is an application for a farm winery farmers market license, 9 Pin Sideworks LLC. Is there someone here representing them? Ready. For sale and sampling at the Great Barrington Farmers Market, Church Street, each Saturday from May 10th, 2025 through November 15th, 2025, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You want me to just give a little explanation?
Yep, this is Jake Samascot from Samascot Orchards and 910. We'll be attending the farmers market again this year, selling our fruits and vegetables as well as hard cider.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion for Farm Wineries Farmer Markets license, 9 in Cider Works LLC for sale and sampling at the Great Barrington Farmers Market, Church Street, each Saturday from May 10th, 2025 through November 15th, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Good luck to you, Jake. Okay, spring license renewal. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the real estate license signage for,
So what we'll do, we'll do that one separately. We'll do the real estate ones, then we'll do that separately.
okay. So for the real estate license, Alden Country Real Estate Services, Barnbrook Realty Corporation, Bishop West Real Estate Inc., Cohen White Associates LLC, Compass Real Estate, Berkshire Fire Agents, Fairground Real Estate, Great Barrington Owner LLC, doing business as Berkshire Block, Helen Milani Real Estate LLC, Housatonic Real Estate, Kinderhook Inc., Lance Vermillion Real Estate Inc., Matt Caro Real Estate, Roberts Associates Realty Inc., Stonehouse Properties LLC, Wheeler and Taylor Realty Company Inc., William Platt Sotheby's Real Estate, Wind in the Pines. Oh, sorry, that's right.
Yeah. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. One more.
I make a motion for the coin-operated soft drink and food machines for Wind in the Pines.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Review and update select board policies and procedures. So there is the document is here, it's been reviewed by, staff with appropriate changes. And town council. Do I have a motion?
I move the board approve the updated policies and procedures, subject to final review and approval by town council.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to say a few things after reading these over. I think all these updates are needed and most of them are minor. I just wanted to state that I'm glad to see that there's some social media stuff implemented here, although I do not use social media. I do understand the rise of it, and as you know, the select board keeps changing, and I assume younger people will get on there. I'm glad that there's some clarification on there for that, so. Just have to see that this is getting updated, because it has been a long time since the last time it was revised. It was from basically 2019, so. It's looking good updates to me, and I appreciate staff and everybody working on that.
It's a lot of work when you can.
Sure. Just to bring the board's attention, folks.
Is that listed on your website?
Yes, it will be on the website once it's approved tonight.
It's, and technically, it's part of the town code. It's not a town meeting adopted law, but it's select board adopted. And chapter 189 of the code. So this new version would replace chapter 189. But I wanted to bring the board's attention to, I think it's on page 5 of the draft. It's Roman numeral 9, IX, citizen speak procedures. So, this draft that, I'm not sure if it was drafted by the board or by the previous town manager. It says that it said all citizens shall have the right to speak. And I highlighted that for council because on your agendas, you say citizens speak is for residents. As opposed to citizens, which is what the policies say. So I didn't know if there was a difference or a distinction in your mind or what you were thinking. Because there seems to be a little conflict between the policy and what you state on the agenda. Council, in the comments there said, well, there is a chapter of the town bylaw, chapter 34, that discusses town residents. But when I look at that, actually, that is something where residents have the ability to speak before. There's an item on the agenda and the board is going to take a vote. That bylaw applies to that vote, that a resident can speak before a vote. It's not about the citizen speak time on the agenda, which is a broad matter. So there's nothing in the town bylaw that says who or who can't speak during the citizen speak portion that I could find. So whether you wanted this to be open to citizens or residents, whether citizens can be construed in some other way these days, I don't know. Maybe you would just rather say all attendees shall have the right to speak. So I put that out to the board. It's something that I think you need to clarify before you find.
Yeah, so let me just give a little perspective on this. What we've done in the past is we have, and I don't have it with me, Mark used to have it. We used to allow residents, taxpayers, business owners to speak. There may have been one other class. If someone came before, clearly, if someone was here, as a business owner, Richard Stanley comes to mind, and wanted to speak on something we were talking about, or at Citizen Speak, about something that would affect his business, we allowed them to. What we, wearing my two hats, what we were trying to avoid is during some heated discussions, for instance, during COVID in the school district, when we had 270 people who wanted to speak, and many were not local, so to speak, I use air quotes. And we had someone from Iowa who wanted to tell us how we should do things, and someone who was running for governor who, I don't know, they ever even got on the ballot. That I didn't personally want to spend until midnight discussing this, so we've always interpreted that, you know, if you're a resident, a citizen, a second homeowner, a business owner, you would be allowed to speak. I don't know how we define that in here, both legally and so that it's clear. But that's what we try to do.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Well, I was just thinking, I think that it would be unfair to the citizens, residents of Great Barrington if we allowed, I'll just be bold here, every time Dick and Harry to speak, because it would cut down in the residents' time and maybe make things, as you said, go longer. And I think the people that should be speaking are the people that live in this town or business myself.
I guess just to speak to that as well is, and I think it's pretty much just repeating what you and Garfield said, is that I just assumed with it being resident, and I guess a clear definition would be needed, but I would assume it is somebody that resides here, somebody that owns property, and somebody that runs a business. Those would all come right to mind here. First thing, and I guess that's what I would consider like a resident personally. I don't know if I see a difference. I could see that being a citizen of Great Barrington as well. So I just assumed we were going with residents, in this application just because it was crossed out on this form. And it seemed to make sense. It seemed a little more fitting there.
Well, the residents, I'm not sure that's the right word,
Yeah,
because that doesn't, I don't consider a business owner a resident. Maybe I'm splitting hairs.
yeah,
I more consider a resident someone who lives here. A business owner may live in Pittsfield and may live in Lennox,
yeah.
but I still would want them to have the ability to speak. Because they have a financial interest in the town and.
Yeah.
So,
Would you want to say, all town residents, property owners or business?
I guess, yeah, let's just put it down
That-
exactly
does that
what we
cover it?
mean. and
Covers.
Cover it.
I think it does.
That's not fair.
So town resident, whether you're a homeowner or a renter,
yeah,
you live here.
Yeah.
You don't live here, but you might own property, you
Mhm.
might own a second home or a business. So town residents, property owners or business.
I think that covers everything. Go come up to the microphone.
Bill Warren speaking for Alfred Road. Just as a hypothetical question, how would, and using the Brookside Bridge as an example, how would you handle it if someone who does not reside in Great Barrington, not a business owner, not on property, but they are, by nature of where their house is, they're very much affected by what is done and not done.
So when that was on the agenda previously. My memory serves me correct, I let them speak, but not at citizen speak time. Because,
There was a specific.
yeah, there was a specific item on the agenda, and they spoke there, but a citizen speak. But I also think there is some leeway for the chair with the board's permission. On a specific item that we may not think about right now, because every circumstance is different, but
That makes sense. Thank you.
I think that works there, so. So, everyone okay with changing the word resident to what Chris has suggested?
Town residents, property owners and business.
Yeah, I can't think of any others that would come under that. Okay, so I have a motion and a second, other discussion.
Just to say thank you for this update. This is an incredibly small thing, but whoever took all of the time to make the capitalization consistent throughout this document. I've done that work before and I know it's not fun, so.
Exactly. Anyone else? No?
But just one other thing, so this means, second homeowners can speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eileen?
Yeah, under 9B, excuse me, B. Residents who choose to speak during citizen speak time shall have the opportunity to address the select board once during each meeting. I don't quite understand what that means. What if somebody to speak, for instance, now, plus during citizen speak? They can't.
No, I think that's a good point. I think that can be actually taken out, because if Eileen wanted to speak about this policies and procedures, or Claudia, or Michelle, or Phil, who happen to be in the room, and then they want to speak again during citizen speak, we've always let them, there's no reason not to.
I guess I assumed that meant, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but I assumed that meant a person can only speak once during citizen speak.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
But that's not really what it says.
Yeah,
Okay.
No,
so
no.
we'll reword that,
Otherwise,
because that's important to have in there, but it's gotta be worded better than that, because whoever the chair is needs to have this document to back up. So that, occasionally, again, the chair will let someone speak twice if there's a reason, but I think it should say, just be reworded, so it's during citizen speak.
what about
It's one-
residents may speak
And the
once
word
during
residence,
citizen speak?
wherever the word residence in here will be changed.
Yeah.
Right,
in the citizen-
But what about just residents, may speak once during citizen speak?
Yeah, that would be simple.
Yeah.
And it won't be residence, it'll be the other term.
Right,
Yeah,
And
yeah, I think that's fine.
okay, and I had a question. Town council commented on this as well as Mark Ruhensky, or?
Well, it started with Mark and Chris took over and Natalie, and then town council has commented.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? So with the changes that we've discussed, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Terrific. It's been a long time coming, it's great that staff got this done. It was not an easy project. Okay, so discussion of a new search for the town manager. So as everyone's aware, we reopened the search for town manager. That means the screening committee will start over again. And there were 7 members on the screening committee, and that is what is identified in the charter. Out of those 7 members, 5 agreed to continue. 2 said for whatever reason that they could not continue. So this board must appoint 2 new members to the screening committee. And we already have a list of 30 some names. So instead of reinventing the wheel, we will pick 2 tonight and then ask them. And if they say yes, then we have a new screening committee or a continuation. So does someone have a suggestion of who to nominate out of this list?
I would suggest that we nominate Deb Phillips and Peter Fish. So I'll just go ahead and make a motion to nominate Deb Phillips and Peter Fish to fill the 2 seats. Feel it's appropriate. We did lose one gentleman and 1 woman in the role, and these 2 have plenty of experience, in my opinion, to help pick the best possible replacement for our town manager.
Any discussion?
Can I just ask about the 2 members that we lost?
Joe Vanina and Tom Lovell. And I can't remember Joe Vanina's last name, I'm sorry. Perfect.
I have a question if you don't mind. Who are the other 5?
There's some other, it's Bree Ryan. Eric Broom,
Fred Clark.
Fred Clark, Kate Broom, and Sean Stan.
Kate,
Perfect.
so that's Kate Burke, Sean Stanton, Fred Clark.
Eric Broom and Ray Ryan.
That's.
Good question. Oh, I don't know why we didn't have it right now. Okay, any other discussion?
Well, I'd like, go ahead.
No, go
Go ahead. No, I just would like to nominate someone else.
So the way this works is a
Yeah.
motion, and if you want to amend the motion, you can do that. Can we get a second to the motion?
Oh, we haven't gotten a second yet. So the only thing that I
Yeah.
kind of like talk about first is that there was a real push that we honored with the previous committee to kind of make sure that it wasn't entirely former select board members. And Joe was one of those, Joe and Tom. Tom kind of has a little bit more. And so I totally agree that Deb and Peter have great experience and they know what's kind of needed. I just wanted to open it up and see if we still want to look at this list and see if we want to go in that direction. Of finding some people kind of more outside of town government experience and broader town experience.
I'm comfortable with these 2.
Go ahead. So how do I do this if I want to?
I'll let Michelle talk and I'll let you make a motion.
Michelle Lemire, 70 Division Street. You will recall when you picked your first group, and there was back and forth discussion over having a balanced committee. Now you're going off balance, and I have to agree with Select Board Member Elliott on that. To look at that, Deb was the Select Board, the Select Board. So.
And to be honest, Peter was too.
Okay, yeah, a long time, and I get they've been off the Select Board for a while.
That was my rationale, but I.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, but I feel the citizens being cut out of the process. I think the people, Tom and Jovanina, I think you came up with 2 good, it was like what Steve said, 2 good candidates, but were they the right fit? So I think you should rethink this I'm not comfortable with the direction you're going in. And there's not a crowd in the room tonight to say, no, don't do it. So I'm going for the record saying, I'm not comfortable with picking 2 former select board members. I think you should have a balanced group there. And you may have come across somebody with HR experience or whatever, who could be helpful in that. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Michelle. Garfield, so what you would have to do is to say, I want to amend the motion, I want to nominate so-and-so instead of so-and-so. Let Claudia speak.
Yeah, Claudia Shapiro, 78 Egremont Plain Road. I am absolutely opposed to having all selectmen, as I stated a couple of months ago. I have an extraordinary struggle with the selectmen, quote, handing the torches down. I'm struggling with this board. Ben is the only one who didn't vote on the airport, so I'm going to exclude him for the minute. But I'm actually adamantly opposed to Beth Phillips for numerous reasons. That lady has hit me numerous times with the sledgehammer, so thanks.
So Garfield, do you want to make a motion? Yes.
Yeah, I want to make a motion to nominate 2 different people. One of my nominees would be Doug Robbins. And it might not be popular, but Karen.
Okay, do I have a second? For that died for lack of a second. We have the original motion still up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I really like, Deb and Peter, it's not that I don't think they have valuable perspective, and that they are as citizens of this town as everybody else on this list, but just I think as Michelle and Claudia pointed out, there was kind of, I felt like there was a mandate to kind of have a diversity of views. I don't necessarily think that says that they would make a good decision. I just do think that we have to kind of try and do our best to incorporate some voices that might not usually be part of the process.
You want to make them?
I would, so I would make to kind of take Joe's place, Natalie Narotsky, apologies if I obviously just butchered that. I like the kind of perspective that Meredith Smith is bringing in as just a member of the community is looking to get involved and is raising a family. So
Do I have a second to the amendment? So that fails.
I have a suggestion, could you start the screening process again and get more candidates?
We have 30. So we could, yes, the
I'm
answer is
just
yes.
saying if you can't agree on.
yeah,
Well, but if we can't agree on 2, how are we gonna agree on 7?
So I guess, let me go back to my proposal and for, I do understand the statements that were made by the citizens and by this board. I just go back to certain things and I just need people to be experienced in all these aspects. And we have Eric Brune on there. The select board, previous select board members I suggested were select board members a long time ago. They have much more outside experience and you know, in all senses of the words, Barrington civilians. So I just think this is such a crucial thing to find the right person for our town manager position that I just really urge the board to put these 2 in. I think it's valuable. And if we're gonna debate all night, maybe we just add one of the 2 I suggested, but I do feel the experience not only from them being on the select board, however many years ago it was, and their personal experience that would be very valuable to help us find the best town manager that we can have for this town at such a crucial time.
So what would that do, if we approve that, that would give us 3 who have not been select board members and 4 who have.
Yeah.
So it's not like it would be all 7 were former select board members. I mean, I understand what Claudia and Michelle are saying, but I really want people who know what a town manager does inside and out. So I think a balance on the committee is important. And I'm not sure 4 and 3 is the balance that people want, but it's not 7. So I understand both sides of this. I'm not.
Can I ask Eric why it's so crucial? Because you keep using that expression that is crucial, you know.
I think it's crucial that we have a very experienced selection committee to pick a
Well, you're-
very vital position in the
Right.
town. Town manager is very crucial, and
And
it's
of
very
course-
crucial we get the right person.
But you can understand from my point of view, everything I've pointed out that the town's gonna be going into, specifically involving me and my property. I feel that you're saying it's crucial because it is crucial. Because where we're heading is crucial and you have to have the right person. And you really have to have the right person. And I don't want a department head to be the right person. And I'm really, Eric, very against Steph Phillips, no offense, but I count too. I've lived inside this town probably for longer than you've been alive.
Yeah.
And I pay a lot of real estate taxes, so.
So let me try this. There's a motion and a second. And two amendments to the motion have failed. So let's see if this passes or fails. All in favor of Peter and Deb?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so the motion's off the table. That's good. So do we have another motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we submit two alternate names.
Well, that's not a motion. I
Well-
need the names.
Excuse me?
I need the names.
Sure, all right, motion would be for Doug Robbins. And Becklin Young Taft. He's a resident of the town. And I think that's important, and Doug has got very good stats, and I'll be honest with you. It's probably terrible of me, but I'll come right out and say it. I want someone who's been here for a long time. I'm not excited by someone who's been here since 2016. That's my own personal prejudice, I guess you can say, but I want someone who's got some longevity in this town.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second? Do I have another one?
I kind of want to come back, so,
You can do one at a time too.
yeah, I would say I would do one at a time, so
Yeah.
it's almost. I just want to make sure we have someone essentially serving as like a citizen advocate, like Eric, I think is a great representative of the business community. But I think, to your point, Eric, that. This is such an important thing to get right, but a big part of this is having someone who is gonna be able to communicate with the residents of this town the way that they need it, and I just want that voice kind of recommended, and I thought. That someone like Joe would kind of worked with the town and kind of as that was a good fit for the committee previously, which is why I think Natalie would be a kind of a good person to kind of place in that position. I would be open for that for Natalie and Peter to if that,
Say full names, please.
but I'm sorry.
If you're making a motion, just so.
I mean, it's, okay, I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion to add Natalie Narodsky and Peter Fish to the committee.
Do I have a second?
You have to give me a second. I gotta refresh my mind. Natalie.
So she worked with Joe on the town's strategic sustainability and livability committee. So again, has some town experience, but is coming at it from more of the citizens angle.
How about we start with just going one name at a time?
Sure.
Wait, you want to withdraw it? Well, there's no second, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make another motion then?
I'll make the motion to appoint Natalie Narodsky.
Do I have a second? Do I have another one?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to add, I don't know how to phrase it, Becklin Young Taft, she's lives in Houston town. I think it's pretty important that we have some in Houston town.
Well, we do have people.
Well, I like her, I like what she's a teacher.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have to recuse myself, I believe on that, and
Okay, so it passes 2-1. Do I have another name?
I make a motion to appoint Peter Fish to
Sure.
the committee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
No,
So it passes 3-1. We will call both of them, make sure they still want to serve. And if not, we get to do this all over again in a few weeks.
Further report choice?
No, no, yes, positive.
well, I don't know about
Because
this.
if you had a third or fourth choice, and the first two said no.
No, I don't want to go into that, that's.
Well, hold on.
Even though you want to go into that?
We only are charged with going 7. And we have 7.
Correct. It's when you say yes, that's all.
Yeah.
Just trying to.
Yeah, and then we're meeting back in a couple of weeks if someone refuses.
Do it all again.
Yep.
That's it.
I got mine on this, I don't get it.
Citizen speak time.
Steve, I think.
Yeah, Eileen.
Oh, Eileen, sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you, Michelle. Eileen, go right ahead.
I have that Peter was appointed, but was it Natalie who was also appointed?
No, Bethlehem.
Who? Who's
You
the
want to
second?
get the-
Bethlehem Young Taft.
Batlin Young Cat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks, Eileen. Okay, citizen speak. Go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle LeBaire, 70 Division Street. First off, thank you for taking comments into consideration with regard to that. You're going into round 2 and you know, what may have, like Chris suggested, what if those 2 people say no? So I know you're going to come to just a small pool of people to choose from, but I appreciate your taking our comments into consideration. Another thing was when you did the permission for the Du Bois celebration. And I didn't say anything because I thought it was 12-2. It was changed 2-4.
2-4.
Okay,
Because of let me just give you the rationale. Farmer's market doesn't end till 1 and they were afraid of the crowd.
and so when you said that, I go, well, what about the mass at St. Peter's on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah.
So sometimes when I go down to Big Y, whatever, I avoid Main Street, Great Barrington during mass. Not that I'm going to be there, but it's just.
No, I get it.
You know,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you.
I wasn't here at Tuesday's select board meeting, but I watched it. You know, there were comments regarding the town manager candidates. Mr. Reed, you brought up that, one of the candidates was a woman's perspective. I just, from my own statement as a woman, this doesn't matter to me. I think it has to be the best candidate. I just think we're in, pardon the pun, or the word again, crucial time. And so the best candidate has to be sought out. And so I mean, we have an all male board right now, but I think that'll change in the not too distant future. So on that. So just from my own perspective, you're not hurting my feelings if you select a man for the position. The real reason why I'm here tonight is about the special town meeting. That was a real difficult meeting for me. There's only been 2 meetings, special town meetings or annual town meetings where I was shaken up. One was when I had my daughter, she was about 8 years old. We took her to an annual town meeting and there was a heated exchange between the moderator and somebody in the audience. And she said, "Mama, why are those 2 men yelling at each other?" It was embarrassing to me. I was in kind of the peanut gallery at a special town meeting. I didn't say anything because I was a bit overwhelmed because I'm hearing comments in the audience and they weren't very uplifting. As a Housatonic resident, I was hurt. I felt betrayed, not because the warrant articles were approved, but just that I'm not paying for Housatonic's water, comments like that. So I had to get away from it for a while. I took a breather, so I started researching for another project. Lo and behold, what comes up during my research? But this, Housatonic Water, Town Fire District, eyed for takeover. Town Manager Joseph Kellogg has asked the Great Barrington Fire District to consider allowing Housatonic Waterworks to connect its supply system to the fire district. Meanwhile, James Stark of Housatonic has submitted a petition for a town meeting article that would ask voters to approve a feasibility study of the towns taking over the Great Barrington Fire District and the privately owned Housatonic Waterworks. The date, March 16th, 1995, Berkshire Courier. So, Mr. Gabriel, you said in a statement, I asked everyone to give us more time. There isn't any more time. This has got to be resolved now. I'm 67 years old. I've been hearing this for decades. There was another article, 2018 article, and it referred to the merger of the two systems. So this has come up and the board changes and we kind of stall again. But for the public record, I want to say, I have no patience. I know you're working on it, but the deal better get done one way or the other. Like I said, I was so upset about that special town meeting, the conduct on the floor, that for the first time ever, I'm debating whether I'm going to annual town meeting. And I'm looking at these veterans up here, I spoke to it, they fought so you can go and vote. But I said, as a Housatonic resident, clean water, people, that's what we're talking about. And you may say we didn't like the warrant articles. Anybody could have done an amendment on the floor. Anybody. What shocked me was the lack of support. Just said, listen, I didn't hear anybody where I was saying, I just don't agree with the way this is written or how it is or the methodology. Thank you, Sharon Gregory, for all the research she did on it. But as a Housatonic resident, I actually reached out to Josh Bryson, who very nicely gave me the count at special town meeting. And Precinct B, which is Housatonic, 145 people were there. Precinct A, 120, Precinct C, 71, Precinct D, 114, which drowned out the Precinct B. There are 800 Housatonic water customers. Many of them are in Housatonic. Where were they? So I'm really bruised. My husband, who's not political at all, and he doesn't like, he's a very calm person, and he doesn't like sometimes where we start arguing. He was upset. He goes, I can't believe what I saw. So I don't have any patience to wait any longer. Like I said, I have an article right here from the Berkshire Courier, 1995. There's probably articles before then. Eileen Mooney probably could find them for you. So I apologize. It's your opinion, both you and Ben, but I'm pretty much done with it. Thank you.
Michelle. James, go right ahead.
Good evening, this is James Garzone, 84 North Plain Road, and I just want to piggyback on Michelle. Again, I'm not a Housatonic customer, but I am a Great Barrington citizen that cares about all of us, and it's gone on too long. I hopefully, like she said, she's lost her patience. I think we all have on this subject, and I know you guys are working on it, and I appreciate it, and hopefully it'll be sooner than later. I know Eric and Ben live in Housatonic, so I trust them, and not only do I trust them, but Steve in the process. And also, I have a problem with the water company that we have. They really act separately, and I guess it's on purpose, but I think as citizens, we just have no visibility. Yes, they have their meetings at 4:30. Yes, they have their town meeting, for their own warrants. It just says bad taste in my mouth, and I know this has been the way it's been, and it's probably not going to change, so I'm just voicing my opinion. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks, James.
Claudia Shapiro, 79 Mount Plain Road, for the record. I also went to the town meeting and I was completely overwhelmed by it. It was hard to even decipher what was going on. I would have said this, but I wasn't even given the opportunity. Housatonic Waterworks from the warrant
The purpose of this petition is to approve the town of Great Barrington's acquisition of Housatonic Water Works to own and control the Housatonic water system and all its facilities and property rights for an amount not to exceed $2.3 million. In October 2024, the firm hired by the town to do a financial evaluation of Housatonic Water Works, DBC Engineering, evaluated the fair market value of the Housatonic's infrastructure, the facilities, piping, and hydrants at $2.3 million. On March 31st, Housatonic Water Works treasurer James Mercer sent a letter to customers in full support of the town's acquisition of the system, also at a fair market value. So a vote in support of the warrant article is a vote supporting the acquisition of Housatonic Water Works infrastructure only, while the Mercers retain the land, including part of the Long Pond shoreline and the water rights. The difference between property rights, the rights being requested by the petitioners, and water rights is distinct. Property rights can include ownership, but in the case of water utilities, property rights refer to easements and right-of-ways. Crucial and essential for water utilities to access private property in public areas to install and maintain and repair water infrastructure. Water rights specifically pertain to the legal permission to use, sell, or manage water from a specific source, such as a stream, river, lake, reservoir, or groundwater aquifer. Water utilities, whether public or private, typically operate under specific water regulations or entitlements granted by the state and have the right to withdraw, treat, and distribute water, subject to the terms of their permits or licenses. There has been mention of funds available under the Drinking Water Revolving Fund, but not of the State Clean Water Revolving Fund and the Mass Clean Water Trust, state agency that works with Mass EPA to provide loans and grants for water projects in Massachusetts that include infrastructure. The Clean Water Trust primarily serves municipalities. Private water companies may be eligible for funding if they are deemed public waterways or partner with municipalities on projects. The same applies to the Great Barrington warrant article, also requesting to acquire the Great Barrington Fire District water system and its facilities property rights, the Great Barrington infrastructure, Great Barrington Fire District infrastructure. The petition's originator, Sharon Gregory, asserts a takeover and merger of the two systems will serve as a secondary town water source, a source she states she does not feel safe without, ignoring the Great Barrington Fire District, stating the merger interconnection would supply a welcome 2-day supply in case of an emergency. The Great Barrington Fire District has spent 2 decades and millions of dollars searching for a backup supply and is still actively searching for a secondary water source. On March 22, 1 month ago, Berkshire Environmental Action Team posted the following public notice. Great Barrington, Department of Environment Protection Wetlands Program 401, Water Quality Certificate Application, public notice pursuant to 33 USC 1341 and MGL Chapter 2143. Notice is hereby given of a 401 Water Quality Certification application for the Berkshire Natural Resources Property Exploration Wells Project in Great Barrington by the Great Barrington Fire District, 17 East Street, Great Barrington, Mass. On property owned by the Berkshire Natural Resource Council, BNRC, 309 Pittsfield Road. The project located at 0 State Road, Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Property ID gives a number. Proposed activities include the installation of 2 exploration wells to determine the viability of the property to serve as a new drinking water source for the district. That tells you we can get additional information. And I want to point out that the Berkshire Natural Resource Council also owns the Long Pond Road property. So thank you. Mr. Bannon, I found that extremely hurtful that I got up and expressed my not wanting Deb Phillips to be on the screening committee and you recommended her. You know, I've told you twice that you're really traumatizing me, so now I'm telling you publicly that's 3 times. It's actually not okay, but thank you.
Any other public comment? Seeing none. Select board's time. No, Eileen. Eileen, go right ahead.
Okay, this is really media. Should I wait?
That's fine.
Okay, all right. According to the planning board 2 meetings ago, according to its minutes, it was said that Cyril's school is excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with my voice. That Cyril's is not going to be converted into a hotel. Do you know anything about that? I know the special permit seems to have lapsed, but aside,
I do not. No, I do not know anything about that. I don't know if they have information we don't have, or it's supposition, but no, nothing's come to us.
I will send you the minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, select board time done.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick, I think both Michelle and James, in their, statements referred to this idea of patience, and I'm a Houstonic Waterworks customer. I've had to give my daughter a bath in brown water. I've never had patience for this. It's the reason that I ran for this office and why I'm sitting here. There's a difference though for me between patience and sloppiness, and that this isn't gonna work if we don't take the time to make sure we're being as.
30 years.
I understand, and
Yeah,
I'm.
30
that's
years.
most of my life, if not more, but I also know that there are so many ways for this to fall apart as we're trying to cross the finish
I am
line.
fully aware.
Yeah, and
Fully
we have to
aware.
do it right. The plan being proposed to the special town meeting was not gonna do it. That's
And
why.
as I address that, I address that.
I'm not, thank you.
Eric?
Nothing at this time. Thank you very much.
Okay, media time. Unanimous consent, we are adjourned, thank you.